Chapter 6, The Age of Atlantis and the Fall of Consciousness. The Origins of Atlantis. Long before recorded history, in an age buried beneath myth and memory, there existed a civilization so advanced, so spiritually attuned, that its legacy continues to echo through human consciousness, the legendary continent of Atlantis. Their society was organized around spiritual wisdom and service to the whole. Temples, dedicated to healing, ascension, and celestial communication, dotted the landscape. Children were educated in soul memory. Lifespans extended for centuries. According to records preserved in esoteric lineages and channeled from higher realms, Atlantis was seeded by beings from the Sirius, Pleiades, and Arcturus star systems. These star families came to Earth during a time of vibrational openness, where the dimensional veils were thin and matter responded to consciousness. The original Atlanteans were tall, radiant beings of light with crystalline DNA that allowed full access to telepathy, telekinesis, time manipulation, and multidimensional travel. They lived in harmony with Earth's ley lines, using crystal grids and temples of resonance to balance planetary energies. Atlantis was not merely a landmass. It was a frequency, a collective consciousness field, a sacred experiment in divine embodiment. The Atlanteans were not just technologically advanced, they were spiritually integrated, operating with an understanding of both cosmic law and energetic mastery. The descent begins. Atlantean technology and crystal power. The latter began experimenting with forbidden technologies, genetic manipulation, hybridization, and frequency weapons. Their hunger for power led them to exploit the very crystals that once served as instruments of harmony. What set Atlantis apart from modern civilization was its fusion of science and spirit. Atlanteans understood that all technology must be in alignment with nature and consciousness. Their most powerful tools were not machines, but crystals, living consciousness, beings that stored knowledge, amplified energy, and served as conduits to higher realms. Over thousands of years, as more souls incarnated into Atlantis from diverse galactic origins, the original purity of intent began to erode. The society grew in size and complexity. Material desires, competition, and the thirst for control slowly infiltrated the Atlantean psyche. A division formed between those who remained aligned with spiritual law, known as the Sons of the Law of One, and those who sought to manipulate energy for personal gain, the Sons of Belial. The great crystal, housed in the central temple of Poseidon, was capable of generating clean energy, opening interdimensional portals, and maintaining the biospiritual balance of the planet. It interfaced directly with human consciousness, responding to thought and emotion. Atlanteans used hovering crafts, anti-gravity systems, and teleportation gates, but none of these violated natural law. Their power came from their harmony with the source, the legacy of the fall, the great cataclysm. Warnings came from the inner Earth councils and galactic emissaries, but they were ignored. The Atlanteans believed themselves invincible. Thus were born the mythologies of lost gods, sky beings, and sacred sciences, echoes of a fallen, golden age. Atlantis sank not just physically beneath the waves, but vibrationally. The consciousness of its people plummeted into density. Those who survived scattered across the planet, carrying fragmented memories and knowledge to Egypt, Mesoamerica, India, and Tibet. The fall of Atlantis was not merely a historical event. It was a soul wound etched into the collective memory of humanity. Many who walk the earth today carry cellular trauma from that collapse. Some were Atlantean priests, others were scientists. Many were ordinary citizens caught in the karmic storm. The tipping point came when the great crystal was overcharged, either through sabotage or arrogance. Its overload triggered a catastrophic shift in Earth's magnetic grid, causing earthquakes, tsunamis, and a complete destabilization of the planetary axis. This trauma manifests as a fear of power, a resistance to spiritual gifts, or a subconscious guilt around failure. But the fall was not in vain. It served as a cosmic lesson, a reminder that technology, Without wisdom leads to ruin, and that even the most enlightened societies can fall if they forget their source, the path forward. The Atlantean story is not over. It is being rewritten in us. Will we rise with wisdom or fall once more into forgetfulness? Earth is rising. The frequency is increasing. And the question remains, we now live in a time of remembering. The Atlantean codes are reactivating. The same souls who once walked those crystal halls are awakening again. This time, they return with humility, with heart, with a deeper understanding of balance. Chapter 7. The Dark Ages and the Hijacking of the Human Grid. The Rise of the Control Matrix. With the Atlantean priesthood scattered and many sacred teachings lost or corrupted, a vacuum formed. Into that vacuum entered new systems of control. Kingdoms rose, empires fell, and centralized power structures began to take shape, not in alignment with cosmic law, but with manipulation and domination. Religions once born from genuine contact with higher realms were co-opted. The divine feminine was suppressed. Mystical knowledge was declared heresy. The earth itself, once revered as a living mother, was desacralized and exploited. The human grid, a network of consciousness connecting all beings, was infiltrated. Energetic implants, frequency distortions, and thought control mechanisms were introduced. These systems functioned much like a virus, distorting truth, feeding fear, and redirecting spiritual longing into institutional control. This chapter in Earth's history was not accidental. It was orchestrated by forces both terrestrial and interdimensional to fragment the collective memory of humanity, sever its connection to source, and trap souls in a loop of reincarnation, fear, and illusion. After the fall of Atlantis and the scattering of its survivors, humanity entered a long and tumultuous period now remembered in whispers and hidden symbols, a time of great forgetting, distortion, and control. This was the era often referred to as the Dark Ages, not merely for the absence of light, but for the suppression of truth and the deliberate hijacking of the human consciousness grid. Interdimensional influence. The Inquisition and the burning of the mystics. The Library of Alexandria was burned, erasing countless ancient scrolls. Mystics and midwives were executed as witches. Shamans and seers were silenced or driven into hiding. Their goal was not destruction, but containment, to keep the soul from remembering its origin. These beings could not create, but they could mimic, distort, and invert. Their method was not brute force, but deception, creating false narratives, fracturing spiritual systems, and embedding limiting beliefs into the collective subconscious. They targeted the chakra system, particularly the heart and third eye, blocking intuition and love with shame, guilt, and fear. They manipulated timelines, seeded false prophets, and installed energetic barriers around sacred sites. Behind the scenes, the true architects of this control were not always human. Esoteric traditions speak of the archons, reptilian collectives, and artificial intelligences from collapsed timelines. These entities fed on lower vibrational energy, fear, pain, division, and required humanity to remain in a state of separation to survive. The spiritual wisdom that had survived Atlantis was preserved in secret in the mystery schools of Egypt, the Vedic chants of India, the oracles of Delphi, and the oral traditions of indigenous tribes. But as the control matrix solidified, a systematic purge began. The grid recalibration begins. The manipulation of time and history. Nature-based spirituality was demonized, yet even in the depths of darkness, the light remained. This was not just a war on people. It was a war on memory. Sacred sites across the earth, pyramids, stone circles, temples, continued to emit subtle. The great civilizations of Lemuria, Atlantis, Mu, and the Galactic Age were reduced to myths. The soul's multidimensional nature was replaced with the illusion of a single lifetime. Death became feared, and life became a struggle. One of the most effective tools of the controllers was the rewriting of history, the true origins of humanity, the existence of ancient civilizations. the contact with extraterrestrial beings, all of it was buried beneath layers of distortion. Calendars were altered, holidays were repurposed. Time itself was mechanized and monetized. Linear thinking replaced cyclical wisdom. And with each generation, the truth slipped further from reach. The trauma of these persecutions imprinted deeply into the soul record. Even today, many spiritual seekers carry subconscious fears of speaking their truth, stemming from past lives where it cost them everything. The turning tide. A new age was dawning, and so the grid began to crack, one where the veils would thin, one where the soul would speak, one where the human grid would reconnect, not to control, but to unify. The Matrix still fought through distraction, division, and digital illusion, but its grip weakened. Their presence disturbed the Matrix. Their frequencies disrupted the programs. Their visions could not be silenced. Frequencies acting as anchors for cosmic memory. Crystals buried deep within the earth began to awaken, and scattered across the globe, children were born carrying star codes, souls who had agreed to incarnate and assist in the great remembering. These were the Starseeds, the Indigos, the Crystal Children, beings from higher dimensions who volunteered to descend into density, take on human form, and help dismantle the grid from within. By the end of the 20th century, the vibration of Earth began to shift. The harmonic convergence of the 1987, the rise of the internet, the acceleration of synchronicities, meditation, yoga, plant medicine, and energy healing began returning to collective awareness. Now the light was returning. The dark age had lasted long enough. Chapter 8, The Awakening. DNA activation and cosmic memory. The catalysts of awakening. The dormant DNA, a divine archive. Within this DNA lies the memory of Lemuria, Atlantis, the stars. It contains healing abilities, telepathic communication, and quantum understanding. It holds light codes, vibrational, instructions from source waiting to be reactivated. Mainstream science identifies only a small percentage of DNA as active, relegating the rest to junk. But in esoteric and galactic teachings, this so-called junk DNA is latent coding, the original divine blueprint intentionally suppressed during humanity's descent into density. Human DNA is far more than a biological instruction manual. It is a multidimensional archive, a crystalline interface that stores the wisdom, experiences, and lineages of the soul across lifetimes and galaxies. This chapter of the epic was never about destruction. It was about returning to truth, to connection, to our divine design. As the grip of the control matrix began to loosen and Earth's frequency began to rise, a silent revolution stirred within humanity, not of violence but of remembrance. This was the long foretold Great Awakening, a planetary shift marked not by external conquest, but by the activation of dormant codes within human DNA and the reawakening of cosmic memory. Common signs include symptoms of awakening. Some of the most common triggers include intense emotional purging and vivid dreams. As the dormant strands begin to reactivate, the body, mind, and spirit undergo profound transformation. This process can be challenging as old programs unravel and new frequencies. Anchor, meditation and breathwork. Stillness opens the inner eye. Sacred sites. Visiting power points such as pyramids or ley lines can activate ancient memories. Light language and sound. Tonal frequencies bypass the mind and speak directly to the soul. Plant medicine. Conscious use of entheogens can dissolve ego barriers and reveal cosmic truth. Soul encounters. Meeting members of one's soul family can activate recognition and remembrance. These awakenings can be subtle or explosive, a sudden knowing, a deep emotional release, or a complete shift in perception. Whatever the form, the effect is the same, a resonance with truth. That cannot be denied. DNA activation does not occur randomly. It is often triggered by vibrational catalysts, events, relationships, synchronicities, or spiritual practices that unlock dormant memories. The return of cosmic memory, a sunset that moves the soul to tears. The role of lightworkers and starseeds, heightened sensitivity to energy, light, and sound. A pull towards spiritual study and inner healing, a sense of disconnect from former identities and beliefs. Waves of unconditional love or cosmic grief. These are not signs of breakdown, but of breakthrough. The soul is stretching, expanding, and reclaiming its voice. As DNA awakens, so too does cosmic memory, the remembrance of who we truly are and where we come from. This is not remembered through intellect, but through feeling. Their presence is disruptive, not in chaos, but in vibration. Their very being challenges the old systems. They are here to transmute darkness, not fight it. Their DNA contains keys from their home systems. Pleiadian compassion, Syrian wisdom, Arcturian healing codes. As they awaken, these beings remember their missions, connect with their galactic families, and begin to anchor higher frequencies into the Earth grid. Many who experience awakening are not ordinary souls. They are lightworkers, starseeds, grid keepers, and way showers. Volunteers from other star systems and dimensions who incarnated on Earth to assist in the Great Transition. It has already begun. The global activation, this is not a prophecy, it is a process. A dream of flying through stars. A moment of silence that echoes eternity. Humanity's awakening is not isolated, it is planetary. The old guard trembles, for it cannot contain what is rising. And every soul that awakens is a torchbearer, lighting the way for the others. Crystalline energy grids are reactivating. Solar flares and cosmic rays are accelerating the transformation. Children born in recent decades arrive already connected, already remembering. Technology once used for control is now a mirror, spreading light, connecting tribes, and breaking down walls. Cosmic memory restores meaning to life. It reweaves the tapestry of identity beyond race, religion, or nation. It births unity consciousness, the knowing that all is one and that separation was only ever an illusion. These are the soul's whispers reminding us that we are more than flesh and bone. We are eternal, travelers, dreamers from the stars, sovereign co-creators of reality. The age of forgetting is over. The age of remembrance has begun. Chapter 9, the fifth dimension and the return to unity. In 5D, the dimensional ladder. What is the fifth dimension? Love is not an emotion, but the foundational frequency. Communication is telepathic and energetic. Manifestation occurs through alignment, not effort. Karma is replaced by instant reflection. The soul becomes the navigator and the heart the compass. It is not an escape from the physical world, but an elevation of how we experience it. The fifth dimension is not a place, but a state of being. It is a vibrational reality where separation dissolves, time becomes fluid, and the illusion of duality gives way to the experience of oneness. As the Great Awakening accelerated and the collective frequency of humanity began to rise, Earth entered the threshold of a profound transition, a dimensional shift from the density of the third dimension into the expanded reality of the fifth dimension. This transition, long foretold by mystics, star beings, and indigenous prophecies, marks a pivotal moment in Earth's spiritual evolution, the return to unity consciousness. Challenges along the way, signs of entering 5D consciousness, deep inner peace, regardless of external chaos, a sense of connection with all beings in nature, living in the present moment rather than past or future. Manifestations occurring with increasing speed, dissolution of ego-based identity and roles, spontaneous feelings of bliss, gratitude, and love. Many are already beginning to experience the 5D shift. Signs include 3D, physical reality dominated by polarity, linear time, and ego identity. 4D, transitional realm of healing, awakening, and energetic clearing. 5D, unity consciousness, soul embodiment, heart-centered creation. These are not fleeting emotions, but states of resonance, indicators that the soul is anchoring in a higher frequency field. The Earth herself is ascending this ladder, and humanity is invited to ascend with her. But ascension is not automatic. It is a choice, a continual practice of releasing fear, embracing love, and aligning with the truth of who we are. To understand the fifth dimension, one must first grasp the concept of the dimensional ladder. Each dimension represents a level of consciousness and frequency. Building the new earth, the role of heart coherence. But all of this is preparation. The old self must die for the true self to emerge. Heart coherence is not just a tool, it is the gateway to the fifth dimension. Relationships may dissolve, careers may shift, beliefs may shatter, the body may undergo energetic upgrades, often experienced as fatigue, headaches, or emotional waves. The fifth dimension is not a utopia that appears overnight. It is co-created by each soul who, at the core of 5D reality, is the heart, not the organ, but the energetic center that connects us to Source. The transition to the fifth dimension is not without turbulence. As old patterns collapse, many face periods of ego death, identity crisis, and disorientation. This is known as the dark night of the soul, a sacred passage where everything false must fall away. This alignment allows for intuitive insight, spontaneous healing, and resonance with the planetary grid. Scientific research in the field of heart math has shown that the heart emits an electromagnetic field hundreds of times stronger than the brain. When we enter a state of heart coherence, through gratitude, compassion, and presence, our body, mind, and energy field align. It is here, the return to unity. It has always been here. The fifth dimension is not coming, and now we are finally learning to see it. Chooses to live from truth, kindness, and love. This is not a dream, it is a destiny remembered. Lightworkers, starseeds, healers, and awakened beings are gathering. Networks of unity are forming crystalline cities of light are being birthed in the etheric realm, ready to anchor in the physical as the frequency rises. In this unity, fear vanishes, judgment fades, and what remains is compassion, joy, and creation. This is the era of the new earth, a world where communities are built on cooperation rather than competition, where technology serves consciousness, and where nature is honored as sacred. At the heart of the fifth dimension is the return to oneness. No longer do we see ourselves as separate individuals lost in a chaotic universe. We remember that we are cells in the body of the cosmos, each unique yet connected. Chapter 10. Earth's role in the galactic shift. Why Earth matters. The Galactic Council's observations. Souls from across the stars have chosen to incarnate here. Not to escape, but to serve. They know that by assisting Earth's ascension, they uplift entire galactic systems. High above Earth, in dimensions beyond sight, the Galactic Council of Light observes with deep. What happens on Earth does not stay on Earth. The ripple effects of humanity's awakening echo through star systems, timelines, and dimensions. Earth is not a forgotten world. It is a keystone, node in the cosmic web. In the grand orchestration of the universe, certain planets are chosen as nexus points, energetic, hubs where diverse lineages, species, and soul groups can converge to catalyze profound evolution. Earth is one such planet. Her diversity of life, her rich elemental balance, and her unique vibrational blueprint make her a rare jewel. More importantly, she is one of the few planets that holds free will as a universal law, allowing for an experimental playground of contrast, growth, and transformation. As the dimensional gates open and the veil lifts, the focus of countless galactic civilizations has turned to a single point in the cosmos, Earth, this small, vibrant planet on the edge of a spiral. Galaxy has become the epicenter of a transformation far greater than itself, a galactic shift. The interdimensional portal Earth, Earth's energy grid and activation points. Beneath Earth's surface lies a vast network of energy lines, ley lines, dragon lines, and crystalline channels. These grids are ancient, living systems that connect sacred sites across the globe, the Great Pyramid, Machu Picchu, Uluru, Stonehenge, and many more. Instead, they send emissaries, energetic upgrades, encoded light streams, and loving encouragement. Their role is to hold space to ensure that Earth's process unfolds in divine timing without external distortion. As humanity awakens, these sites begin to reactivate, pulsing with codes of remembrance. Lightworkers are drawn to them not by chance but by soul contract. Their presence reawakens the Earth, anchoring light and recalibrating the grid. Earth is also a dimensional junction, a place where multiple realities, timelines, and species. In this way, Earth is not passive. She is an active participant in the galactic transformation. Her consciousness is rising alongside humanity's, and her ascension supports the entire solar system. Reverence. These councils include representatives from Arcturus, Sirius, the Pleiades, Andromeda, and many other civilizations. They do not intervene by force. They honor the prime directive of non-interference. When starseeds and lightworkers call upon them, they respond through synchronicity, guidance, and subtle intervention. Humanity's sacred mission. Earth's mission is not to be saved. It is to awaken and lead. This is not a punishment or reward. It is vibrational alignment. These parallel realities exist simultaneously, and each soul is gravitating toward the one that matches its frequency. This gives humanity a depth of experience that is rare, a strength forged in vulnerability, wisdom, birthed from pain, and compassion born from suffering. Intersect. For this reason, it has long been observed and visited by beings from other realms, both benevolent and manipulative. The planet is undergoing a quantum bifurcation, a splitting of paths. Those aligned with fear and control remain bound to the 3D matrix, while those resonating with love and unity begin to experience 5D Earth. Despite all challenges, humanity holds a unique and sacred mission to become the bridge between worlds. Unlike many star civilizations who evolved through spiritual purity or technological mastery, humans are learning through contrast, emotion, and forgetfulness. As humans remember their power and reclaim their sovereignty, they become galactic citizens, not through spaceships, but through consciousness. Their choices, healing, and creations ripple out to the stars, the symphony of ascension. And as the galaxy listens, it remembers too. Together they are singing the new Earth into being. For in Earth's awakening, the stars find their reflection. And as the galaxy listens, it remembers too. Together they are singing the new Earth into being. For in Earth's awakening, the stars find their reflection.